cover-ups, lies, and in between, conspiracies, and those who dare to speak the truth. Get ready for a walk on the wild side. Welcome to Parley with your host, Michael Gray.
Hi all, this is Mike Gray and this is Parley, and we have a really good show, great show, and I'm really psyched because I scored big with today's guest. I have been a fan of this guy's for well over 5 years. His name is Jay Weidner, and I just cannot say how psyched I am that I actually scored one of my biggest fans. Jay, you there?
I am.
Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, great. And just to, you're with Sacred Mysteries?
That's the company one of the companies I have, yeah.
Okay, and you're also one of the founding members of Guy MTV, correct?
I don't know if I'm a founding member, but I'm real close to the founders, yeah.
Okay, great. You work at Guy MTV.
I do. I'm the producer of all that programming.
Right,
David
right.
Wilcock
Yeah.
And George Norrie and all the other stuff, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, listen, why I have you on the show, I mean, we could, obviously, one of your first articles, how I found you really was, I'm a big Kubrick fan, and, you were the one who decoded, Kubrick's Faking the Moon Landings.
Yes, I am.
And you're all over room 237.
I like to think I'm the more credible of the people on that program, yeah.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I highly recommend everyone checking out that documentary.
It's on Netflix.
Exactly, yeah, excellent. And there are pieces of it on YouTube too. But let's get into, because anyone could go on YouTube and check out punch in Jay Weidner, and I highly recommend looking at all his YouTube stuff. Every interview he's ever done on YouTube for the past 5 years, which I have listened to them all. But what I really want to talk to you about today is all these psyops and these hoaxes that the government is pulling on us.
Yeah, it's getting quite disturbing, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like, Sandy Hook and Boston bombing and, I mean, I have a list, the Santa Barbara killing, the Virgin killer, Elliot Rogers, that Christopher Dornan one, Miriam Carey, all the ISIS beheadings, all the fake ISIS beheadings, all the fake parents and siblings of the victims of the ISIS beheadings giggling and laughing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, what's the name of the woman who runs the website that releases all those videos? There's one woman who claims that her organization is the only ones on earth that are smart enough to hack into these jihadist websites. I forget her name, Ann Diamond, or it's a common name. Anyways, it's clearly a Mossad front. All those videos, all those ISIS videos, all the Jihad John videos, all the Osama bin Laden videos, they all come through her one service, which is like called intelligence or intelligentsia or something. And so that's our only source for those.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and they're clearly fake. They're clearly done on green screen.
Fake. Yeah. They're clearly faked.
And
all of them are, in fact.
Why does the government allow ISIS to be on Twitter?
Exactly. And now, it's a really scary thing. ISIS is 30 miles away from Texas.
Right. They have a hidden base camp in Mexico.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, keep the pot going, keep everybody terrified. That's what the whole thing's about. And as long as you stay in a terrified state, you're not going to be able to see reality for what it is.
Right.
And I got news for I got news for everybody. there's not that many people getting killed and murdered out there. Most of it's staged that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I know that sounds strange, but
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
it's an operation done by some kind of agency that specializes in covert theater.
well, just in one day, just the other day, you have the Michael T. Slager killing Walter Scott. Okay, which is clearly fake. No smoke out of the gun, no recoil,
No blood.
Yeah, no blood. He shoots him 8 times and 5 hit him. And why didn't he go down on the first or second bullet?
Where's there's just so many things about that. The body spasms. It doesn't die. There's called death throes. You just don't go silent when you die. There's like your muscles begin twitching, and it's not a pretty sight. And clearly they've cleaned it all up in the media now, so you can't show. Back in the old days when I was making films in Hollywood, we could show wounds and what they really look like. And now they don't do that anymore. They cover it up and hide it, which, in some ways I guess is better. But I still think it's good for people to realize what a human body looks like when it's really getting hurt and killed. And it's not just this, guy falls over and dies. It's just not how it goes.
And also when not only that one, but all in one day they did 3. Okay, they did that one in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. They did the one.
Yeah.
They did the one in California. The guy on the horse.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Jared Pusak. Okay. And 8 to 10 deputies are beating him up with 2 helicopters above, mind you. And notice the horse doesn't seem to run away.
That horse. That horse is the funniest horse I've ever seen. He's not afraid of the helicopter. Yeah. He's not afraid of anything.
That horse is just staying there like, I wonder if they'll call the horse in as a witness.
I don't know, but he saw the whole thing close up for sure.
And then the other thing was the 73-year-old guy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a 73-year-old. Did you hear about this one?
No.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma, a 73-year-old retired insurance executive paid, supposedly, the Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department to do ride-alongs. And he had a taser and a gun. And he shot the black guy. He thought it was a taser. He shoots him in the back. And one of the deputies that was on the guy's neck, the guy was saying, I can't breathe. And he goes, F your breath. You didn't see that one?
No, I haven't seen that.
This is all in one day.
Yeah, well, they're really amping it up for what? For this summer, I guess, right? You're making a nice, long, hot summer.
I think what they want is they want the blacks to riot in the cities.
Well, they do. They absolutely do.
And I think they pulled Trayvon Martin. I think that was a psyop. I think the Mike Brown thing was a psyop. I think the Garrison thing was a psyop. And I think the 2 cops getting assassinated was a psyop. All staged. Wow. All fake.
It could be. I'm at this point, I've given up trying to argue it in any other way. It looks more and more, everything looks more and more fake. What's really interesting is that we are, a bunch of us, older people, are beginning to look back at events in the past now. And we're beginning to realize that, it's when you find out that you've been conned, it's a really ugly feeling. It's like you feel like you're stupid. You feel like you're not aware. You feel like you're not conscious that you could have done something. And when I look back now and I see that the Patty Hearst kidnapping was a fraud and Jim Jones was a fraud and the whole entire thing in Jonestown, I really even wonder what happened there.
Yeah, do you think really that all those people got killed? It's like now you wonder, did all those people really take cyanide and did all those people really die?
Well, here's the thing. That what happened when that first broke out was, I don't know who it was, Life magazine or somebody, flew a chopper over Jonestown within, hours and took a bunch of overhead pictures And I remember when those overhead pictures came out, we counted the bodies, and there was only like maybe 100 at the most, not the 500 they were saying. And a bunch of people brought this up, and then the authorities said, "Oh, you just saw the bodies that were on top. You didn't see all the bodies underneath." So apparently, these 100 bodies were hiding 400 bodies. So, so that right there is now, if that had happened today, of course, we would be all over that. And we would say this is a fraud, this is fake, and the whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, Jones was probably a CIA agent. That's what I think, and he was running operation in San Francisco. He was probably responsible for the assassination of Harvey Milk and Mayor Moscone, if that was real, and he was pretty much in charge of destroying the emerging alternative community that was forming in San Francisco at the time. Was pretty vibrant, and I believe Jones was sent in to completely destroy it. And I know there's links between the SLA and Jim Jones, and the SLA is clearly a fraudulent organization. The whole Patty Hearst kidnapping was a complete fraud. She never was kidnapped. Nothing ever happened to anybody. This is the way I have to tell you, that nobody dies in these things. The shootout in L.A. between the SLA and the police was probably completely fraudulent. Same thing, even beginning to wonder about that police officer that went rogue in L.A. a couple of years ago.
The Christopher Dornan one?
Yeah, Christopher Dornan.
Yeah, and he wrote a manifesto, the same as the Elliot Rodger.
Yeah, and then he he gets caught in, again, just like the SLA, in a burnout house where, wow, he can't find any bodies. Isn't that amazing? And, these are the kind of the fingerprints we have to start looking for now in all of these things. I'll even say that, the JFK assassination is a fake. The Zapruder film clearly shows that JFK, as they come out from behind the Stennon three-way sign, is not grabbing his throat. If he was grabbing his throat, there'd be blood shooting 3-4 feet out of his neck. There's no blood at all. In fact, what he's doing is he's reaching into his coat and putting something on his right cheek. And that something is a squib, which is they use in Hollywood to create gunshots. So they look good. So you stick a squib underneath your shirt, and then you cut a little, with a razor blade, you cut your shirt a little bit, and when the squib goes off, it blasts through your shirt. Well, he just had a bare squib right on his cheek. Jackie reaches over and pulls the string trigger and blasts it off. The squib flies off JFK's face. You can clearly see it flying off his face and lands up on the hood behind the car. Jackie abandons JFK, leaves him falling down into the car, and reaches up and grabs that squib as fast as she can. And that's the real story of the Zapruder film. It's been sitting in front of us for over 50 years, and I got to say, there isn't very many people who are actually interpreting what's going on that film very well.
Yeah.
But if you look at it now, and you can get it all over YouTube, you can see that that's a squib. For one thing, gunshot wounds don't release gases, but the shot that gets JFK in the cheek releases a cloud of gas. Furthermore, the autopsy pictures, which you can also see on the internet, there's no wound to his right cheek. So it's
That's
like,
right.
what?
Yeah.
And it's because the JFK assassination was run over and over. It was staged. They ran, 4 or 5 runs in Dealey Plaza, shooting each one of them. And you can actually see there's splice breaks in this Zapruder film where there's actually 2 takes going on, where people are moved in between the splices. People have moved.
It makes you wonder, all the supposed witnesses that died, they were just like Lee Harvey and Jack Ruby, they were just being their characters were being closed out. That's all.
That's all. That's all they were, being closed out. We're done with you.
Yeah.
We go. You're not time for some plastic surgery, so we can send you off to another place.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald's brother said that it wasn't Lee. The guy that came back from Russia wasn't his brother. So, they're already playing fun and games with everything.
Right.
But, that's what we're discovering now, is that it's just theater, and they're running us through theater. They're running our politics through theater. But here's the bad part. Here's the part we should be really all concerned about. let's take the Boston bomber, Joker Tonarev, or whatever his last name is. Okay, his first name is Joker, right?
The Joker.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce his name, Joker.
Yeah.
Okay, his name is Joker, and he is in his attorney. The very first sentence his attorney says in his trial is that Joker's guilty. It's truly one of the worst attorneys I've ever seen. She turns out to be the attorney for Jaron Loeffner, the killer or the shooter of Gabby Giffords.
Gabby Giffords, which is another hoax.
Another hoax.
Yeah.
And so Joker has absolutely the worst trial ever. He's found guilty on every single count, and looks like he's going to be, either killed or whatever, right? And it's a fake trial. It's clearly a fake trial. He's a fake. He didn't do anything. The whole thing is a setup, clearly a setup, and but that's all interesting and all that. But here's the problem with all this, and this is the real reason that all this stuff is being done, is they are establishing precedent within the legal system with their phony trials. That's what the whole point of this, all of this is, to establish precedent in the courtroom. So now our rights can be stripped away, not through politics and debate or even through the barrel of a gun, but through trickery and theater.
And so you have the prosecution is in on it, and the defense is in on it, and the judge has got to be in on it. And who knows if there isn't even really a trial going on?
There isn't a trial going on. He's an actor in a drama.
Right. No, what I'm saying is there probably isn't even anything going on inside.
There isn't.
Yeah.
You're right. There probably isn't. They just have a guy raw sketch.
They're showing us the pictures, the artist renderings, and they're probably all fake. There probably isn't even a trial going on.
You very well might be right. Although it wouldn't be, they do like theater, so they might like to go through the facade of it. But why risk it?
Funny how this isn't being televised and all the other ones,
Oh yeah, if you notice, this one's really being kind of buried.
Yeah.
They really don't want to talk too much about it, and for good reason. Just like they buried the Santa Barbara, what's his name, Rogers. They buried that one. That one just flew off the charts as fast as possible.
And by the way, that Elliot Rodger character, he's riding around he goes, "This is my new BMW." That's a 2007 BMW, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that Elliot Rodger that was all filmed 7 years ago, and that Elliot Rodger is now James Foley, the brother of Dave Foley, one of the guys that got beheaded.
He could be. All of this, I would have told you were nuts a year ago.
Right.
Now I'm actually starting to believe. Elliot Rodgers, his goodbye video, production values are seriously great. I mean, the camera is in the absolute, what they call the magic spot when you're doing portraits. There's a magic spot where the camera goes. The camera is absolutely in the magic spot. It's at sundown, and the golden light is flooding through his windshield, hitting him in the eyes. It is like a shot that any Hollywood cinematographer would die for.
And if you look, he's actually reading cue cards, kind of. He's
looking off to his left and either taking directions or reading cue cards. Again, but something. There's something up to his upper left that he's looking at that's directing him to keep his conversation in a certain kind of way. And his conversation, the whole thing, it's so phony. It's just bad. And honestly, the kid's way too handsome not to be a virgin.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's
good-looking
impossible.
guy. Good-looking guy living with Oriental kids or Asian kids, right?
Yeah.
And they don't know that he's got a war arsenal in his room.
No, and apparently the third one that gets killed in the three roommates didn't hear the other two getting killed.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's just really suspicious.
And you got the Hunger Games connection where his father, supposedly, is like a second or third unit director, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then Sandy Hook. The Sandy Hook connection is Susan Collins is from Newtown.
Yeah, then you have the production assistant for The Dark Knight Rises, which has the Sandy Hook references,
Supposedly
is
dying.
from Sandy Hook, and he died in a car crash in
Yeah.
April 2012, I think it was.
I don't believe that either. Yeah.
Conveniently before No, he knew about it. He knew about the Sandy Hook thing. He told the Batman art director to put Sandy Hook in the movie, and somebody found out about it, and he got killed. That's what I think happened. Because everybody in Sandy Hook's involved. Don't ask me how they managed to pull that off. Yeah, I mean, that's how you have to start looking at it, right? I mean, these things are getting into movies. Okay, so he's obviously the guy that got it into Batman, the Batman movie, right?
But even so, like the Aurora thing, I think is completely fake too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to actually track that down because I live in that area, and I actually know. I heard. This is all second person. I heard of a person that's a friend of a friend of mine who was at the theater right nearby the shooting and actually saw victims. But that could be fake too.
Well, the first thing that caught my ear was when I heard a 3-month-old baby. Some parent took a 3-month-old baby to a midnight showing that would get out at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's kind of problematic.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, well, who the hell would take a baby to a midnight showing like that?
Or even take a baby at all to a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially a midnight showing, starting at midnight and ending at 3 a.m. That's a 3-hour film.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't know. These, it's like outrageous. But, I mean, if it is true that this is all being faked and I'm moving that way, then we're in for, I don't know, man. That would mean then
it's
that
wag the dog on steroids, right?
Yeah, that would mean then you would have to accept then that Putin is not really an antagonistic against the New World Order, that he's just an actor.
Yep.
That there was no Cold War at all. That was all just acting. And then you start saying, well, you know what? Why would the elites risk a Cold War? And then they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Why would they risk it? They wouldn't risk an all-out bombing of the world and killing them and their families, accidentally maybe, but still killing them. And so, yeah, the whole thing, you know. I even started looking into nuclear weapons, and I thought to myself, okay, if I can find any incident where they're faking something using nuclear bombs, atomic bombs, then I'm going to ask myself, well, why do they have to fake it if it's real? Then that will begin now starting to make me think that maybe they aren't real either. And I add to that it's also very odd that there's never been an accident with a nuclear weapon going off. There's never been a rogue general or rogue politician.
Yeah, they keep talking about these suitcase, like when the Soviet Union collapsed, that there was all these suitcase nukes floating around.
Where are they?
Yeah, and no terrorist has ever used them, Yeah,
where are they? And then you start looking into the science of nuclear weapons and you find out that it's a little more difficult than they're letting on. And so I began looking and I realized that, remember these films they used to show, they still do, you can get them on YouTube. There's a house that's built right next to the nuclear bomb and it blows over. And then there's some trees and they blow over. Those. Those are clearly miniatures. I'm sorry, I know miniatures. Right. I've built miniatures. Those are miniatures. There's no backgrounds. You can't see anything in the background. The angle of the camera is so oblique that we have to be up on a pole, of at least 10, 15 feet higher than the house. And the real evidence is the camera doesn't even shutter.
That's right.
It's in the middle of a nuclear bomb going off, blowing the house up, and the camera doesn't even budge. And I'd like somebody to explain that to me, because it's not just the budging of the camera, but the radiation would go through the lens opening, the aperture opening, and burn the film.
Yeah.
Clearly. So that's faked. They're faked. So if they're faking that, then why do they have to fake it?
Think of all the fear and terror it put in generations of people like the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
Yeah. I think his name is Lindsey Williams. He's frequently on radio shows. He's like a fundamentalist Christian, anti-New World Order guy. Yeah. He tells a story. I think it's him. I might be wrong. If he hears this and I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But he said he got washed. He was a missionary, missionarying to the Aleutian Island Indians in Alaska, and he was going from island to island. He got caught in a storm, and his boat got washed up on unknown land. And then he was walking around trying to figure out where he was with the group of people that were on the boat, and he saw like 1,000 giant holes that had been put in the ground. And this was like in a very isolated, very cold place. And he walked up and he looked down, and there was missile in it, and he realized it was a missile silo. And he realized he was in the Soviet Union. He realized he had to get out really fast. And that his curiosity had taken the better of him, and he looked down, and as he looked at the missile, he realized that the missile was made out of concrete. And then he kind of, conked his hand on the missile, and he realized that this was just a shell, a concrete shell,
right,
sitting in a hole, a fake, looking like it was real, right? And then also all the UFO stories, UFOs flying over U.S. bases and turning off the nuclear weapons, right? So what is that all about, right? And if they're not there, then the UFO stories aren't real. So what are they trying to say? Well, I think that those stories are being passed around because what they're trying to do is if one of these missiles should ever accidentally go off, right? Blast off, right. And then hit its target, and then there's no nuclear explosion. The aliens, benevolent aliens turned off the missile before it got launched. They'll be spreading those stories around. And I think that's what those stories are about. They're designed to make you think that their nuclear weapons are real, that there's benevolent aliens trying to turn off the nuclear weapons, and that way they're covered on both ends of everything. And I'm beginning to wonder about the aliens, too, since we're getting into fake.
Well, remember that Werner von Braun had a secretary named, what was her name? Where he told her.
I actually know her. I know her very well, and I cannot remember her name.
But he said the second thing they're going to do is asteroids to weaponize space. He says that's a lie. And then he said the last card they're going to play is the alien invasion thing. And she said, and he told her it's a lie. And of course that you're getting into Project Bluebeam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would look for that. They're going to have to up their game because, hey Kathy, or hey Sharon, what's the name of that woman that knows Werner von Braun? Carol something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. We know her.
Yeah.
She's fabulous. Yeah, she's told us all the inside scoops on Werner von Braun and all of that. And that was a fake. But she doesn't think the Paula was a fake. She still worships Werner and gets angry when I bring it up. But anyway, and then you start thinking about, Stanley Kubrick dying 666 days before January 1st, 2001, the year of his greatest movie, right? And I'm starting to wonder, is that real?
Yeah, did he fake his death? Yeah.
Just said, I'm going to pick this day because 666 days before it. It'll really add to my lore. And then, of course, we know that we have ancillary evidence that that Stanley's very good friend Mel Brooks actually knew about 9/11 before it started, way before it was built. Like in 1967, he's created a Maxwell Smart show, which was his creation, and he wrote this particular episode in which the chief calls Max into the office and says, Max, there's a company that's building buildings that blow up after they're built, and they're building a building right now for this moon program, and we need you to go there and find out why these buildings are blowing up. Max goes to the building that's being built, which is called the Odyssey. This is 1967.
Odyssey Construction Company, correct, right.
and he goes up there and he finds some blueprints, and he calls the chief on his shoe phone and tells him, "Chief, I found the problem. And they're putting the explosives into the building as they're building it." And indeed, Freeman Fry has an interview with the assistant to the architect of the World Trade Center, in which he admits that because it was going to be impossible to take the buildings down, that they put explosives in the building while they were building it.
Wow.
And I have that interview.
Hey, Jay, hold on. We're at the 30-minute mark. We just got to take a quick 5-minute break. Can you hold?
Okay. Yeah.
Hold on. You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York, CJ Mars Radio. I'm Mike Gray, your host. This is Parley. We'll be right back with Jay Weidner. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Auntie G and Mumsy B from the Blackthorn Path here,
inviting you to join us Sunday evenings for an hour of magic and myth,
story and songs,
spells, rituals and recipes,
and a whole lot more. That's the Blackthorn Path.
Sundays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central
on CJMarsRadio.com.
Okay, we are back. This is Parley. I'm your host, Mike Gray, with Jay Weidner. Jay, you there?
Yep.
Hey, Jay. Yeah, we were talking about Mel Brooks and clearly someone who knew about 9/11 back in the 60s.
Okay, so the Port Authority decided in late 1966 to build the World Trade Center. Mel Brooks' show comes out about a year later, in September or October of 67. Stanley Kubrick decides to change the name of his movie from Voyage to the Stars to 2001: A Space Odyssey in late 1996, after they had decided to buy the World Trade Center. Mel Brooks and Stanley Kubrick lived in the same apartment building in the Village for a brief period in the 1950s, before either of them had become big. There are a lot of links. There's links that would say that some of Stanley's early work and some of Mel's early work were funded by the New York mob. Now, the New York mob just happens to be the ones that did 9/11. So there you go.
Well, what about Rockefeller? I mean, he was in the thick of it, right? I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
if you ever watch Betsy McGee, I'll send it to you. Betsy McGee did this amazing thing where 9/11 was supposed to be done during the original Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, because he had planned to put a 110-story building on that very site in the early 1900s, in the 1920s.
David. Oh, John, the original.
The original, yes.
Yeah.
But it fell
David's
through.
The builder. Right.
Yeah.
So it fell through, and then the Port Authority built it. So that's interesting, because you're right. David Rockefeller usually has his fingers in anything being built in New York.
Right. No, I'm saying the original, the father who started Standard Oil, him.
Oh, John.
John D. Rockefeller, correct? That's his name?
Yep.
Yeah. He was originally going to put in that area, he commissioned an architect to build this tower, this round 110-story tower, single tower there, okay? Back in the 1920s. But a woman wrote a book, a scathing book about the Rockefellers, and she demonized them. All she did was tell the truth. And that's when the Rockefellers were demonized. Okay?
I see.
And he had to kind of go in hiding, when everyone turned on him, because of the skunk he was. And then it was up to his son to redeem the image.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he did it. He pulled a Rothschild. He had 5 sons.
Yeah.
So they like to do that. You have 5 sons and you send them out.
Jay, you there? You lost you. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So John Rockefeller sent his 5 sons out into the world. One became a governor of New York. Another became a governor of Arkansas. Probably Bill Clinton's dad, by the way, Winfred. And then one became a banker, David, and a real estate mogul, and the whole family. Lawrence Rockefeller was the philosopher. And
didn't he die in a plane crash just recently? Which one died in a plane crash?
No, he died, but he didn't die in a plane crash. I think he just died.
Okay.
No. But the family's almost finished off now. Only David's left, so we'll see.
And from what that if you ever saw Rosemary's Baby, the character Roman, the head Satanist in Rosemary's Baby, doesn't he look like John D. Rockefeller?
He does. Is his name Roman really in that movie?
Yeah, in the movie, yeah. Roman Polanski directed it, and the head Satanist was Roman, yeah.
And John Lennon, when he was looking for apartments, he came to the Dakota where the Rosemary's Baby, the Dakota apartment building in New York, where Rosemary's Baby was shot. And when he found out that the apartment that he was looking, the apartment that they used just a couple of years earlier in Rosemary's Baby, he bought it for that reason. Now, hang on. This is why I'm bringing this up, because this is where it gets weird. Oh yeah, John. So John Lennon chose. John Lennon chose this apartment because it was where Rosemary's Baby had been filmed. Just keep that in mind. And then we come back to California. Roman Polanski's wife, a year after Rosemary's Baby comes out, is murdered by Charles Manson, who thinks he's getting secret signals from the Beatles, John Lennon's group. And Sharon Tate is Roman Polanski's wife, and all the other people are really big who get killed by Manson. And so these things are all, you wonder, how are all these things connected? Why does the Beatles and Manson and Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski and Rosemary's Baby, they're all like, why does it feel like they're all connected in this weird thing? But how are they connected? And the answer is, it's just all being scripted by somebody.
And
who thinks it's really fun.
The Process Church, too.
Oh, maybe the Process Church behind the whole thing. We don't know.
Yeah.
They've sank into obscurity nowadays, but.
Oh, do you know what they're doing now? Do you know what they're doing?
No, I don't.
They're in Utah and they run like an animal shelter.
Oh, it's for animals.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
They run some kind of like animal shelter. I mean, they're probably sacrificing most of them, you know?
I don't know. That weirds me out, though. Yeah, the Process Church, Charles Manson was part of the Process Church. And Process Church is an offshoot of Scientology. Scientology was created by L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was doing rituals with Jack Parsons, who was one of the founders of NASA.
Yeah. And also Crowley's in that.
And Jack Parsons was a follower of Crowley. Crowley's on the cover of Sergeant Pepper's.
Right,
There's a picture of Crowley and a picture of. So everybody wonders why Peter Levenda, who's you should have him on your show. He's a great guy. He wrote a book, trilogy called Sinister Forces, in which he lists all these things, like what I just said about meth and the Beatles, Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby. He lists all these strange coincidences, and he hasn't figured it out in the book. He doesn't figure it out. He says there's, something odd going on here, but I don't know what it is. But all these odd things are constantly going on, and these weird connections between all these people. And the answer, Peter, is that it's being scripted. They're just following the script. Well, that's why there's all these weird things that connect things.
Do you know he wrote that book, the Necronomicon, or what's that book?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he wrote that.
H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah. Did he actually write the book, the Necronomicon?
Yeah, he wrote it under another name, Simon or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but he wrote that book.
I believe that. Yeah, because he has a book out about H.P. Lovecraft and alchemy. So it wouldn't surprise me at all.
But it kind of makes me wonder how deep he is into it,
Well, yeah, maybe he does see all these connections. I wonder too. Maybe he does see all these connections, and
not just see them, but is he participating?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what's going on there.
Yeah.
He's obscuring and obfuscating everything. So, that makes total sense.
Also, Joseph Farrell, I used to like him, but he goes by another name. He's also in one of these weird churches. He goes by the name of Adam something. He goes by another name.
Oh, really? Joe Farrell isn't his real name?
Yeah. Really weird.
Really?
I mean, my name is Michael Gray. I don't have any other name,
Yeah, mine's Jay Weidner. It's always been will be gonna die. Yeah, I know. I don't trust people that change their names. I really don't.
Exactly. Yeah. What do they got to hide?
So that's interesting. Yeah, Joe Farrell doesn't go quite the distance either. I'm always disappointed in him because he gets up to the edge, but he won't go the distance.
Right.
And he wrote a book in favor of that the moon landings are real, and that Hoagland and Barra's work was real, and it isn't. So I was disappointed in that book too. And I wrote to Joe and I told him I was disappointed in the book because I have all of his books. I read everything Joe writes.
I used to get his thing in the Nefarium, which I always found was an odd name, the Nefarium. So I just canceled it because I just felt like, I don't know, started getting weird vibes from him. So. Yeah,
well, I don't know. I don't know him personally.
I also I started looking back into that Thomas Kelly case.
Yes.
The guy that got, the homeless kid that was schizophrenic, 18, 19, and he was beaten by 4 or 5 cops.
He wasn't 18, 19, he was like 50.
No, Kelly Thomas, the kid.
Yeah, he's like 50 years old, isn't he?
No. He was, his father was an ex-cop or a retired cop.
Well, I know he is the guy that got beat up in Fullerton, right?
In California. Was it Fullerton?
Yeah, Fullerton, Fullerton,
California. It was caught on the CT cams. Daddy, help me. Yeah, he was a young kid. They beat him for 20 minutes. And I started looking at the father's reaction, and I see hinkiness there.
I got to tell you, the video of him getting beaten was not very convincing.
Well, and that's another thing. It was a CT camera that seems to move.
Well, it doesn't move. Here's what's weird about that camera and why I'm really questioning things. Whoever did that video went in with another video camera for close-ups. That's what's going on there.
Yeah.
So there's a second camera involved. And now here's the thing. The problem I get having with that is that if you zoom in to a monitor or a screen, your resolution seriously drops. And it doesn't really drop on that camera. And I can't, unless they're shooting 4K on that security cam, I can't see how you can get that kind of imagery zooming into the monitor. There's something wrong there. I'm sorry.
And it's night vision too.
Yeah. It is odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I started looking. Yeah, I started looking at the reaction. Going back and looking at the father talking, and no tears, no emotion, and also the people that were yelling in the city council. And what did the city councilwoman's name? Her name was Sharon Quicka Silva, which is it sounds like Quicksilver, which is a Marvel character.
Yeah,
see,
right.
Whenever it's fake, they have these weird names, right?
Right.
Like Jared Pusak. That's the guy on the horse, right? Oh, and by the way, Walter Scott, the black guy that got shot in the back.
Yeah.
Who else was Walter Scott in South Carolina? Yeah. North Charleston, South Carolina. Who else is named Walter Scott? The guy who wrote the song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won, from the Bobby Fuller Band. Walter Scott wrote that song, and he got killed. Walter Scott was murdered, shot in the back. The guy who wrote that song, I Fought the Law and the Law Won, shot in the back.
God. That's just them having a lot of fun with us.
Yeah, it's like they play all these weird games, these mind games, these name games.
A lot of it is to a lot of it is done, I believe, so that people like you and I, when we're talking, sound like we're completely crazy. That's what I believe that is one portion of it. That it's designed to make anyone who discovers it appear to be crazy. My favorite character in movies is the cop in the movie Dark City. And we never really find out his name, but he knows that everything is fake. And he's trying to tell everybody that everything is fake and that whatever is here today will be completely fake tomorrow. Dark City, by the way, is one of the best movies ever made. And it's all about this. And it's saying that the archons are faking it. And these beings in Dark City even, resemble some of the descriptions of the archons, in that they're pale white and they have no hair and they can move quickly and so, and finally everyone thinks the cop is crazy in the movie Dark City. He ends up just throwing himself in front of a subway because, he can't take it anymore. And so I advise everybody to go watch that movie. It's a very, very interesting film.
Right. Did you see the movie The Box?
I did. Very strange film.
That's another interesting kind of film,
It is. I need to watch that like 5 more times.
Yeah. It's almost like they're trying to tell you something,
Well, they are, but what? That's what I can't figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these movies are all trying to tell you something. Their movies are not designed to just be entertainment anymore. They're all designed to either be propaganda, some kind of programming, something. There's a purpose to every one of them.
Well, a lot of people are trying to figure out. I don't know if you saw the new the Apple Watch commercial.
I did.
And it's on 10/10. They raised the minimum wage to 10/10, and everyone's wondering, like, in the conspiracy world, like, okay, is 10/10 going to be the new 9/11?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of signals in that thing. I don't know what's going to happen. It may just be somebody really screwing with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's freakish, actually, what's going on right now. And the research community is really reaching a moment of enlightenment here. I tell everybody that there really was an enlightenment really close to December 21st, 2012. It happened on December 14th, 2012. It was called Sandy Hook. And Sandy Hook woke us up. That's when we began to realize that they would actually go to do things to such an extent of fakery that, involving a lot of people. And that's when we started waking up and realizing there's something afoot here, much bigger and deeper than any of us really ever imagined.
The one thing that people can't seem to wrap their head around, and I agree with them, is how the hell do you get all these people to go along with the cover-up, even let's say the state police? why aren't they whistleblowing? You know what I mean?
Because they're all in the CIA.
Or they think they're in the CIA.
Yeah, they're all in the CIA. That's just what Jesse Ventura said. He told me that his first day as governor, he was called down to a meeting in the basement, and there was like 40 people sitting around this big table, and there were nuns and postal workers and bank tellers, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And they said, "We're the CIA." And they proceeded to spend the next 8 hours trying to find out what Jesse was going to do as governor.
See,
so that tells me they're posing in all these positions in regular places, in regular towns like Minneapolis. Why couldn't they just get a whole bunch of those people together in one town, do Sandy Hook, and now scatter them back out to the winds, which is exactly what's going on.
Yeah. I kind of think it's almost. I kind of think their recruiting is almost like Ishtar. You ever see the movie Ishtar?
We did, yeah.
Where Charles Grodin is talking to Dustin Hoffman, and he's saying, "Look, we need you," and he builds him up and says,
Oh yeah. Yeah, right.
I think that's what they're doing. It's like, "Oh, come on, we need you, and we'll pay you money," and America needs you. This is important. Building up their egos,
Yeah, could be. I mean, we know that. Listen, there's so much we don't know. We now found out recently that Valerie Jarrett's dad, who was a columnist for, I think, the Chicago Sun-Times, wrote an article in 1980 saying that the I can't remember his name now, Mansran, I can't remember his name. He's a Saudi Arabian prince, is going to start giving money to poor American kids to send them through college, right? Well, 1980 is exactly when Obama got his funding to go to college, and we know now that he got it from this Saudi Arabian, Valerie Jarrett. The guy who wrote the article's daughter is the head of the White House. Obama's not even Obama. We don't even know who he is, really.
Right, yeah.
So even the President of the United States is a big fraud and a phoney.
I thought she was born. I thought she was born in Iran, though.
Yeah, she was. Her dad. Yeah,
she's scary, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, she is really scary.
Yeah,
scariest woman I've ever seen. Besides Michelle. Can you imagine being trapped every day with Michelle and Valerie Jarrett?
Oh my God! And you hear that Michelle's mother, Michelle Obama's mother, is also in the.
Yeah, she's a piece of work too.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, it's horrible. Well, let's hope he doesn't run for re-election. That's all.
Yeah. And did you hear Hillary talking about fun camps? We all need to go to fun camps.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have Hillary. Hillary will not be president of the United States. She will not be. If she does, then I may consider leaving.
I even think that, remember that Sully Sullenberg thing where the plane landed in the Hudson River?
Yeah.
That plane never did sink. Did you know that?
I did notice that.
Here's a plane, now I was a baggage handler, a ramp agent, a long time ago. And when you're in a plane, the bottom compartment goes from the cockpit all the way back to the tail where the luggage is. And if those get filled with water, there's nothing to keep those planes buoyant. They're just going to sink like a boat, if a boat gets filled with water. Yet when everyone got off and went on the wing and the boats came and picked them up and they towed that plane, it never did sink. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and how come no one videotaped the landing? I mean, we're still, people still had cameras. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
It is odd. We never saw any video of that thing crashing into the river, did we?
Uh-oh.
That's funny.
And his name is Sully Sullenberg.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I started wondering about that too,
That's good. It's good. You get enlightened, you start looking at events, you start figuring things out. I really wonder if Oklahoma City was real now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the bombing of Oklahoma City, the building. Either David Koresh or Oklahoma City. Was either of them real?
Oh, you mean Waco?
Yeah, was Waco real?
Yeah,
Did anybody see dead bodies?
Yeah,
I didn't see dead bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and nobody went to jail in Waco. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, and also David Koresh, the name. It's The whole thing. It's weird.
The one thing I found, the one also, if you want to, before that thing even ended, I think it was NBC started a TV production or a movie about it with the guy from Wings. What's the guy? The actor.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
It never came out, right?
No, it did. It aired.
Oh, really?
Right in the middle of
government.
They started filming it. That's what I'm saying. How do you start filming something without a script? Like, when was the script written? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't forget who made his cachet at Waco. Alex Jones.
Yeah.
That's how he got famous.
Listen. I still want to believe in Alex Jones, so, you know.
Well, he's really Bill Hicks, so.
Yeah, maybe.
No, he is. He's Bill Hicks.
I like Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was
funny.
Yeah,
you too. Yeah, Bill Hicks just changed his career. He did what all comedians do. They change their career. They can't keep it going. It's hard to be a stand-up comedian. So they changed their career. Robin Williams changed his career, became an actor. So did, what's his name? Tom Hanks was a comedian. He changed his career. Richard Pryor became an actor. And Bill Hicks became a talk show host. That's all. Took a bunch of steroids to get his voice down there, and so he could become a good radio personality. So there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what happened.
I got to look at that. I got to look at that guy's picture again.
Oh, it's him.
Oh.
It's him. It's him.
So is there anything else? Is there anything else on your mind? I mean, I could talk to you for hours about a ton of things.
No, I'm done. I've got to go eat, but it was good talking to you. A lot of fun.
Okay, great.
So the phone thing freaked me out, I have to tell you.
Well,
I'll
send you my Sandy Hook show if you listen to, because Wolfgang's the first hour, the second hour is Professor James Tracy, but in the third hour, we got messed with because I called out, I said, I know the CIA and the NSA's listening, and they, I think they cut our lines.
I think they cut my line here.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Well, okay. So that was Jay Weidner. Jay, I want to thank you for being on the show and great talking to you. And I really want to thank CJ, my producer and owner of CJ Mars. And this was really a good show for me. I don't know about anybody else. I want to thank the people in the chat room, and I want to thank our audience. And I think that's it. I want to thank our guest. Please stay tuned. This is Parley, and I'm Mike Gray, your host.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.